Good. Good Friday morning, friends. Welcome back for another episode of the Finding God in the Dark podcast. My name is Don,
And my name is Jonathan.
and this week we are talking about the 2025 film Until Dawn. Now, this is a film that is based on a PlayStation video game. The basic and I'll give the basic premise of the film is a group of young people are tracing the steps of a sister friend of the group who disappeared, and they get caught in this place. And it's really hard to describe what it is, um, where they have to keep reliving the night over and over again. And if they can survive the night, then they'll be able to escape.
Yeah.
But they keep dying. I said it's a horror movie, right? I did say that.
Mhm.
Okay. So, where do we want to start, John?
I did not like this movie. I kind of have to start there. I'm not a huge horror fan, but
Hmm.
I, I couldn't. Let me explain.
Yeah, go,
I,
go.
I kind of enjoy horror movies if I don't feel like they're really stupid. If the people do stupid things, like I'm just out. I'm just like, no, no, thank you. So they
Why are
come to
we hiding
this.
behind a wall of chainsaws?
Yes, they come to, I'm sorry, they come to a place where they pull their car into this place in front of basically this hotel, and water and the rain has stopped, and this hotel is surrounded with no rain. And like on all the sides it's raining, but not at this hotel. And everybody decides to park and get out. I'm like, I'm sorry, no, I'm not doing it. Nope, nope, not
This,
doing it.
it reminds me of an old Eddie Murphy joke of it. Eddie Murphy made a joke about the Amityville horror.
Yeah.
He's just like, because, white people move it. This is an Eddie Murphy joke now. The white people
Yeah.
go into the Amityville house, and they get this, this ghost talking, and they go, this is a nice house. We're going to live here, and then black people would come in and they'd hear that voice. Cat, too bad we can't stay.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I'm sorry. I'm okay if they get caught and they can't get out, which obviously, if you follow the rest of the movie, they couldn't have gotten out. But the fact that they didn't try, I'm just like, no, I'm sorry, you're stupid.
Yeah, yeah. And then when they, finally did
Yeah,
try, then like their Jeep was gone and they whatever, like, now you're in the cycle. Now you can't get out.
yeah. I did think that there were some interesting themes. Although, again, I feel like there are much better movies I could point someone to if they want to explore these themes. But
Well,
I did think
no, and I
I
and
think
I'll
there was
agree
some.
with you from the outset.
Yeah,
It's not a great movie.
no,
It was entertaining enough.
yeah,
I like horror movies.
yeah,
So for me it was entertaining enough. It wasn't gratuitously gory or anything like that. I mean certainly, yes, there was some gore and whatever. It's horror violence, right? I'll excuse that for the sake of the storyline. But it was not a great movie. It
yeah,
was okay.
yeah.
So okay for me, for you, I get it.
I mean, there were definitely some interesting elements. Like I really thought it was. I didn't think they did it all that well, but I really thought the idea of having taped or having videos of each night that they can't remember and kind of playing through different ones. I thought that was actually kind of creative. And my hope is somebody uses that kind of idea and kind of better executes it. But I like that idea because I thought that was very creative. But yeah, there were definitely themes. There were definitely themes in the movie I think are worth talking about. Um, for me, one of the themes is how do you let go of a loss? I mean,
Yeah.
that was a big theme, and that's something I feel like most human beings deal with. Um, and kind of this statement of Clover can't let go of her sister's death,
Right.
and it kind of propels them into these horrible situations because she can't release. I mean, and
There's a whole psychology around that, and
yeah,
you know, little bit of a spoiler here, but that becomes part. And this was to me something that I don't know, call it a plot hole, call it a unresolved story. I don't know exactly, but there's a doctor
yeah,
in this,
Dr.
and
Hill.
so we get this Dr. Hill, who is a guy he plays, I think it's the guy who plays the Russian in Stranger Things. But anyway, uh I am hooked on Stranger Things, aren't
Everything.
I?
I'm just starting to watch it, so
What, Stranger Things?
yeah,
Okay. Tell me when you get through it. We should talk about that. But anyway,
yeah,
um this doctor has this confrontation with Clover,
yeah.
and saying that, well, these things, these monsters, or these events that killed you are all reflections of your psyche. And we're going, so is this all a dream? Is this like it kind of went in a direction where I thought, wait a minute, now you're telling me, you're kind of intimating that none of this is real,
Yeah,
you know and so that kind of threw me off.
yeah.
um like it's not Shutter Island, where
Well,
like everything is in his head.
and I feel like if you're gonna say that, they needed to unpack that a little bit. I felt like that was just like a throwaway line. It's in your head. No, it's
Yeah,
not. Like it's like if you're gonna go that
being pretty
direction,
real.
if you're gonna go that direction, go that direction. You
But I
know.
mean, the thing is, if it's only in her head, why is everybody else experiencing it?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Shutter Island is a much better, for me, a much better example of this idea of dealing with loss, because
Right,
that is what that movie is primarily about. The fact that
right.
Leonardo DiCaprio character can't let go of his wife's death.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. And so, I mean, you're right. That's a really solid theme in this film, is that idea that Clover can't let go of her
Yeah,
sister disappearing, and she won't even admit that maybe she's dead.
yeah,
And this is what this whole trek is about. And it is her passion to follow up on that drags this whole friend group into this situation.
yeah. And I mean, the friend group even admits that they're literally doing this with the hope that she'll stop chasing after her sister. Like,
Right, that she'll get some closure.
yeah,
But when they say closure to her, she freaks out.
yeah, yeah,
Like she doesn't want closure.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, it's an interesting take, but I think you're right. It's been done better.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah. What did
what
you think?
else?
Um, I wanted to talk about an element I haven't seen a lot in movies, but um, trauma being attached to a place. Um,
Okay.
and and because I kind of had I could shouldn't say I kind of I did have an experience of kind of feeling that in a um, the United Methodist Church has what are called missionary conferences. And a
Hmm.
long time ago, they were set up to serve essentially Native American populations. One of the conferences that has stayed is called the Oklahoma Indian Missionary Conference. And the churches in that conference that span over Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, and I think Louisiana. I can't remember the last place, but last state. But they have chosen to stay together. It's about 90 churches. And about 4 or 5 years ago, I was asked to teach a course here at Mission U in New Jersey. And one of the things that the Oklahoma Indian Conference offered was to bring us out and kind of show us the situation of that, of the Native American people there, especially in Oklahoma.
Hmm.
So I went, and I can't for the life of me now remember, but there is a quote unquote battle site. But when you go there, you learn the story of the reality that basically it's a battle site because there was a cavalry unit that attacked 60, essentially killed 60 women and children and elderly that were left alone from braves that had left to scout out stuff. And literally, it's considered a battle because one of the younger children picked up a gun and shot it at one of the cavalry people. That's literally why it's a battle, because one Native American shot one cavalry person and killed them. Um,
Not a
but
battle. That's a massacre.
you go to this place and there's this tree there, and over the years people have started to put cloth in the tree, kind of tie cloth into the branches of the tree to remember the dead and the lost. And I really argue, when you go to that place, you feel something. You feel kind of this reality that something horrible happened here that shouldn't have happened. And you hear. I've never been to Holocaust. I've never been to concentration camps, but people say the same thing. I've heard people say when you go to the shipyards in certain parts of Africa, where you kind of feel the same reality, and there is kind of this. I think this human experience sometimes you have where you feel the trauma of a place. And so I like the element that was part of this movie, that this place couldn't let go of the pain and the hurt that had happened there.
It's interesting because I didn't really make that connection, but I can say that I've probably had that experience
Yeah,
a couple of times. One, the first time was the first time that I visited the Gettysburg battlefield.
yeah,
And a place like that, you could, it's almost like the air is heavy. It's just there's this sense of weight
yeah,
that, something really kind of important and tragic happened there. The other is when the first time I went to the Holy Land in Israel, and we went to the Holocaust Museum, Yad Vashem.
yeah. Mhm.
Same kind of thing, and it's an intense experience.
Yeah,
Now you said you hadn't seen it in film. I would say watch The Shining.
yeah. No, no, you're right. That's a good example,
Yeah.
and a better example of a horror movie that's playing on that idea, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Fair enough.
yeah.
What else? What else on this one?
Um, again, to me, I kind of liked this dynamic of repeating the past. I mean, that's a major theme of this film. Of they get caught. It's a less funny version of Groundhog Day, obviously, but it's kind of the same thing, that they get this day over and over again, and they live it out. And there is something psychologically there about how we have a tendency as human beings to repeat the past and not reflect enough on what we do to recognize we keep falling in the same relationships, we keep making the same mistakes, that
Tread
kind
the
of
paths we know.
yeah.
Yeah, we tread the paths we know. And you say it's a less funny version of Groundhog Day. I would say it's a less action-packed and interesting version of Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, you're right. Edge of Tomorrow. You also, I feel like, even what is it called? Happy Death Day is a better horror movie that kind
Happy
of
Death
plays on.
Day is, yeah, that's a horror movie that
Yeah,
that does the same kind of
yeah.
idea. Yeah.
But I
Um,
do, I do think, I'm sure you've had this experience as a pastor. You meet people in your lives, especially in our profession, I feel like, where you sit down with them and they want counseling, and you listen to their story, and then they'll even say, like, "Do you have some advice for me?" And you'll throw out something, and they'll go like, "Oh, I already tried that." Like they want to stay in their situation.
yeah.
They want to stay in their pain. They want to stay in their chaos.
I,
And so
I
every exit
can't
point you try to point out, they basically shoot it down because they don't actually want to leave.
I can't help but think of a scene. Have you seen the movie Liar Liar?
Yes. Yeah.
So the scene after Jim Carrey's character has, the curse has taken effect on him. He can't lie,
Yeah.
and he has this one client that keeps calling him because he keeps getting in trouble.
Yeah.
And the secretary hands him the phone. Oh, it's so and so. He's in trouble again. And Jim Carrey just holds the phone up to his face. He goes, "I ain't home."
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I do think, and granted, I don't want to say everybody's in that situation. Um,
No.
but I but I do feel like there are times, and I feel like I can point it out in my life if I'm honest. There were times where I kept walking the same road, and I kind of refused to think about leaving it.
And I think it's fair to say we all do that. I
Yeah,
think we all do that. But the challenge is the very challenge in this film. Don't do that.
yeah.
Do something else. Um,
Well, and
no,
even I like the idea of they keep several times they go like, okay, we'll just die tonight. We'll get it taken care of tomorrow. We have like four or five more chances. Like they keep
right.
on, and that idea of I need to get in shape, or I need to get out of a bad relationship, or I need to take action and build a better career, or I need to go after this kind of job, and you keep telling yourself, hey, you know what, I think I can do it in 6 months from now. I can, and that kind
Mhm.
of just keep putting it off and putting it off because real change and deep change is hard and scary, and we have a tendency to put that off.
Yeah. Indeed, indeed, and that's an interesting way to look at this film. Um, Again, we're not saying this is high cinema.
No, it is not high cinema. It's not middle cinema.
It's um it's interesting that in the dynamic of the film, so they don't realize how many times they have died
Yeah,
until they say they finally realize that it's been like 12 times. They're on their 13th life.
yeah, yeah.
And that's the most that anybody before them, because every day they sign the register, the
Well,
guest
yeah,
register.
one of the characters came in and signed, and so they can keep track that way of how many times they've died because every night her signature's there, but every night her signature's a little more messy and chaotic.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
And so they finally realize they think they've only died like four times and it's been 12 times
yeah,
because they don't remember. And so they're at that point where like, okay, nobody has lasted longer than 13.
yeah,
So this is it. We got, and what is the quote that she said? Because you wrote it down. It means more when you have one shot.
yeah,
That's pretty profound for a horror film.
yeah,
Oh, and let's apply that to our lives because the reality is we don't generally get a do-over. You got
yeah,
one shot.
yeah,
Now I'm going to get all evangelical and start, start telling people you got to listen to well, you know what I'm saying,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
No, but that I do think that's a powerful idea is that we have a tendency to take the moments right around us for granted, and we have a tendency until we get really sick or really old to not think about, oh, I have 5 years left, or I have 20 years left, or
Right.
and what is important for us always to kind of remember is we don't know that. Like you're assuming, you know,
Look, and I'm like I said, any of us is just as guilty of this sort of thing. I personally, okay, my kids, my three younger kids are 19, 15, and 13.
yeah,
Okay. I'm 61.
yeah,
I know, and I'm not the healthiest person. I know. I'm
yeah,
more healthy now than I was 3 years ago, but you
yeah,
know, but part of the impetus of that getting healthier is I want to see my kids grow up and get established and live their own lives,
Yeah.
And if I had kept on the trajectory I was, that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, sometimes it takes an extreme circumstance. I spent 3 days in the hospital, before I got my act together. So,
Well, yeah, and you in the movie, there's another quote. You don't survive by sitting still. Like,
yeah,
I do think, if I'm guessing, the writer or writers, probably writers, because usually would pretty bad films usually have more writers than they should.
usually, yeah,
um, but one thing I feel like they did want to play with, they did want to have people think about is um, this idea of choosing not to move forward ultimately kills long-term gains. Like, it
yeah,
just does.
yeah.
Like, what's the? I'm probably going to butcher the quote or the idea, but it basically, the the perfect is the killer of the good, or something. The idea of a lot of times we choose to wait till everything's perfect, and we don't recognize that good would be much better than waiting for the perfect moment.
Yeah, and I know the quote that you're going for now. Now I'm going to have to look it up to remember what it is.
Yeah, I think it's perfect is the enemy of the good. I want to think is the quote.
Uh,
Yeah,
Hold on, it'll take me a second here.
yeah. But that idea, I think, is really a big part of this movie. Um, the writers seem to, or the people who developed the game, seem to want to play with this idea of, um, are we moving forward? How are you moving forward? Motion is kind of everything. So,
The saying, this is an AI generated answer, so
okay.
those of you who are Terminator fans, ignore this next segment.
Yeah,
Uh, the saying "perfect is the enemy of good" means that striving for absolute perfection can prevent the completion or implementation of something that is already good or beneficial.
yeah,
It suggests that focusing too much on achieving the ideal can lead to procrastination, inaction, or missed opportunities. Yeah.
yeah,
And that's a fair assessment on this. Yeah, they put it differently, you
yeah.
sit still, you die, um, which they did a number of times in this. So
Yeah. I mean, uh, yeah. When the night when they all chose to sit in the bathroom and try to wait it all out, and they end up dying in what is the stupidest way I think you could develop to die, and there was that moment where I was like, yeah, I'm done with this movie. Like, okay,
it's interesting because that was one of the parts of the film where I went, "Oh no." No.
this was not a deep horror movie that really wants us to examine our humanity. It
No.
had some things here, but I'm reading into it well more than probably
You're
the people that wrote it.
you went on a deep dive. It's like,
Yes, I had to say that my 2 hours was worth it on some level.
we don't love every movie that we watch,
This is the first movie for a while. I was just like, oh my god, I cannot believe I'm watching this thing.
and you're probably sitting there going, why did he watch this? Why do I have to watch this?
Well, I was just like, I don't know. I was like I said, I have softened on horror movies, and if there's some real meat there, I can I can dive in. But this
Sure.
one was just, again, there are some things here that I think you could play with any of these ideas and get a really powerful horror movie. But this was not it.
Yeah, well, and I think you can probably lay a bit of that, I think, at the feet of the source material
Yeah, it's a
because
game.
it's a video game. Look, there aren't a whole lot of video games with real strong storyline. The Last of Us, I hear, is very good. The show was decent. I like the show,
Yeah,
but I never played the game, so I don't know.
yeah,
But generally they're not going for depth in a video game. So if you make a movie from a video game, you know,
Yeah, I do think there aren't a lot of movies that do video game well, or that start with a video game and do it well, and maybe that says something about the two mediums. I don't know.
maybe they should be kind of mutually exclusive.
Yeah,
Mm,
who knows?
yeah. All right. Well, I guess we should probably wrap this up.
Well, what
Until
did you? I
dawn,
mean, I
it's
took the lead on what I thought of it. What did you think?
well, I said I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
But there were a couple of things like you mentioned the bathroom scene and the way they died in that scene, a little goofy, and again, they're not really breaking a lot of ground in this film. There weren't a whole lot of new ideas. I think they amalgamated a few ideas that they pulled from different places and then didn't execute them as well as other places did.
Mhm.
So, it was okay. I think it was a fair diversion for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But I probably won't watch it again.
Yeah.
So
Carpe Diem was kind of was kind of the overarching idea of this movie, just poorly executed. Like,
seize the day. Oh, no, seize the day now. No, seize it again. No.
yeah. Yeah, it would be interesting. One of the podcasts I listen to regularly is the Rewatchables, and they end that time with what movie would you pair this with? And it would be really interesting to watch this and then watch like a movie that has this kind of theme that's much better done, like Groundhog Day, or what's the one with Tom Cruise that you mentioned? Um,
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. It would be interesting
Love
to
that
watch
movie.
them back to back and kind of see where
Yeah.
this movie doesn't connect the dots where those movies did.
We have talked about Edge of Tomorrow. That's one of my favorite films. I think it's just a great movie.
Yeah, it is.
Um, it's so good that I bought the Japanese manga that it's based on. So
Oh wow, there you go.
all right, friends, I think we'll wrap it up for Until Dawn. It's an okay film. If you like horror movies, you probably enjoy it for as a diversion. It's not great. It doesn't break a lot of ground. It's not, again, it's not high theater or anything like that. It's a horror movie. It's a
It
fair
is.
diversion if you like horror movies. So,
Yeah,
and for next week, we don't have anything on the slate because we are recording this like 3 weeks ahead of time.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I think what we should do, since I'm going on vacation and you're going on vacation, and what we'll do is we're going to leave the next episode's topic up in the air.
Mhm.
And then when we're getting closer to recording, we'll decide what we want to see or what we've seen recently. I know that my oldest daughter wants to go see a film that comes out while we're on vacation.
Okay,
Um, maybe that'll be something you go and see. It's called Weapons.
okay.
Um, Maybe we can talk about that then,
Sure.
assuming I do go to see it with her, uh, or something like that. But we'll leave it up in the air, and whatever we decide at that point, we'll talk about.
Yeah,
All right.
sounds good.
All right, friends. So thanks for watching. If you're finding these discussions interesting or engaging, or you just like watching two bald guys make fun of themselves,
Yeah.
we'd be happy to have you subscribe and follow along, and let us know what you think of the films that we're taking a look at, and what we think of them as well. So until next week, take care and God bless. We will see you all next Friday.
Bye.
Oh, hey, you made it all the way to the end of the video. Well, thanks for watching. We appreciate your support. And friends, if you find anything that's really wonderful or entertaining or helpful in your Christian walk, we want to encourage you to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share this video with your friends. We publish every Friday morning at 10 a.m. And we hope that you continue to find these videos and these discussions entertaining and informative. Take care and God bless. Bye.